Hey guys, it's Jim from The Last Man Standing, ready for another lockdown commentary. And this one was actually, I did the first one, Royal Rumble 2000, Triple H, Cactus Jack, and two separate people requested the same match. Sabre V1 and L. Daniel Street requested Chris Jericho versus Triple H at Fully Loaded 2000. I was actually going to do Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, which I will do. But yeah, Fully Loaded 2000, Triple H and Chris Jericho. What this is going to be is basically we all press play on the WWE Network at the same time if you haven't seen the first video. What a brilliant Last Man Standing match this is. So it's Last Man Standing on Last Man Standing. What I will say is, again, I always say this whenever I'm watching anything on WWE Network, pause it for 9,000 years first, because it will buffer. So just pause it for a long time. And basically we're going to press play when I say so. So get ready, pause, skip to the match on the event and pause it, just as you press play on it. It's not complicated, just have it pause on the match. And please consider subscribing to The Last Man Standing. Normally it's my friend James and myself doing discussions, but we also do solo stuff too, and obviously we're both in lockdown so we can't be together. So it's just commentaries at the moment from me, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy them. Some nostalgia, some positivity in this lockdown with some old school year 2000 wrestling. But yeah, please press play on 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm still going to suffer from the same fate that I did on my Triple H vs Cactus commentary, where I don't have the commentary loud enough to hear JR and the King clearly. Such a loss, because announcers really go along with the products. I really do. Like, if you look at WCW, in its glory years, Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, Bobby Heenan, and then you look at WWF in its glory years, JR and Jim Ross, they were in their element, and when they're in the element, everything else comes alive. It honestly felt like back here, and in other stages of wrestling being brilliant, everything was working together. And I feel like one of the problems with today's wrestling is that certain bits work and then certain other bits don't work. And I think wrestling the whole machine needs to be going. And I know that not everything was absolutely perfect on year 2000 WWF shows, but nothing was ever glaring. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but nothing ever, it was so, most of it was working, but now you have so much out of, flow with each other, you notice it more. And I wonder why people requested this match. Two separate people on a small channel requested Triple H vs Jericho. I mean, I know why. It's an excellent match, but it must be really fondly remembered among old school WWF fans. I like how Triple H. It's always looked at that Triple H didn't give Chris Jericho any rub during the year 2000. And the weird thing is, they were both the same age. It was always presented that Chris Jericho was the younger. You'd always presume that Jericho was maybe 26, 27, Triple H was 30. They're both 30. And who was more proficient? Who was more suited for the main event? It was Triple H. We know this. Chris Jericho admits this today. So, I don't think it's right to say Triple H buried Chris Jericho by not putting him over back here. He gave him that brilliant, memorable moment on Raw where Jericho thought he won a title and then Triple H got it back. I prefer that to Jericho winning the title. I really do. I think it gets... Because people thought they went... no one really wanted Jericho to be champion in the year 2000. A great wrestler, great character, but he wasn't world champion material yet. And to give you that slice of the cake, briefly, to make you think you got... it keeps you yearning for Jericho to get into that position to win the title again. I think that when he won it in the year 2001 was when he was ready. His character wasn't great, but that was when he was ready. Here, Triple H was clearly the better main eventer. I don't get why people have a problem with Jericho not winning. And even in this match, it's a draw, isn't it? So, I know it's Triple H wins. Yeah, Triple H wins, yeah. I maybe would have had Jericho win this, but I don't have a problem with Triple H winning it. Because Triple H had a reputation back here, especially after his series with Cactus Jack of being tough. Even though he was an arrogant bully, coward, he was tough. He'd regularly have these bloodbath matches every month, just absolute bloodbath. Usually his own blood, and but he'd survive, and he was known for that. He was known for these battles, and even though he was a cheater, even though he was a liar, even though he was a coward, he could brawl with the best of them. And he was a survivor. He survived an onslaught from Cactus Jack. He survived, so many things. I mean, he survives this after this, but he survived Steve Austin later on in the year, early in the year 2001 as well. He was, he had this kind of battle-worn kind of thing to him. And that's why I really do think, and it's, again, in this match, Triple H blades, and I think the blood is a big part of what I was just talking about. I genuinely think that, because it made him come across as this war-torn wrestler, this wrestler who, every match he was getting beaten to bloody death, and he still would fight back, he'd still find a way to win. That's why blood is important, guys. It's important for sympathy, and it's important also for heels, because it makes the heel seem tougher. It makes the heel, be a brawler, be someone who can fight as well as cheat, I'm baffled that there is wrestling going on with no blood. I genuinely am. Or at least Hell in a Cell pay-per-views going on with no bloody blood. What's that, bud then? Yeah, we get some bud on there, just to get high while we watch it to get us through. But yeah, this match, and the weird thing about this match is, it's not like the first Last Man Standing match between The Rock and Mankind, which was just, again, Mick Foley. I don't like his matches with The Rock, because it's almost as if, same with Undertaker as well, it's almost as if, and Vader, it's like he got in there and went, kill me. Literally, do everything you possibly can to almost kill me. In creative ways as well. Chairs, hits, back of the head on table, on knee, on just everything possible to make me concussed for life. And I don't like that. His match with Triple H was more of a story, and obviously didn't get his ass kicked for the whole match. And that's why, I prefer Cactus Jack, because he doesn't get his ass kicked for the whole match. If you've got a character and the wrestler's trait is taking pain, you've got to do it smartly. I mean, wrestlers like Raven, whose trait is taking pain, they didn't fucking get the amount of punishment that Mick Foley got. He took it too far, man. So, yeah, I mean, it was just silly that the first Last Man Standing match. But this one, there's not much weapons. There's literally a single chair shot that makes Triple H busted open, and then then there's a table spot. So it's more actually Triple H dominating on Jericho's ribs the whole match, in a real calculated attack, and I like that as well. It's another match where not only was he this great brawler, he was a technician, Triple H, and he was known as a merciless technician, where he'd work on the body part, he'd work on the body, and he just came across as such an all-rounder, Triple H. Every single thing in the ring he could do, in real life and in storylines. You look at him and you think he's a great worker, and in the storylines you'd think he's a great worker, because he just was capable of so many styles of matches. He was prepared for whatever opponent he came into contact with. Triple H is a really great display here, the way he works on the ribs, and Jericho's selling's brilliant. And JR and Jerry Lawler, you really wish you could hear them, because they're going back and forth. All Jerry Lawler keeps talking about is Jericho kissing Stephanie, and no matter what happens to Jericho, no matter what, he just keeps coming back to that as if it's the worst act in the world, which it is. You get colour commentators sometimes, and the best example colour commentators are the ones who have a point, because it makes the back and forth better between the lead announcer. Imagine if that was real. Broken ribs, knee directly into lower back. Stephanie really... Oh, did she? Yeah, there you go. Jerry Lawler just said, how do you like... He's been asking JR the whole match, And he's just said, how do you like it someone called your wife a trash bag? And Jim Ross goes, well, I wouldn't like it, King, damn it. Like, but what I like is that JR's getting annoyed because it's true, like, and Jerry Lawler's got a point. And that's what I loved, you know, you had colour commentators like Mark Madden, and I can't think of any other bad ones, but just colour commentators. That was a bad colour commentator. I hated Mark Madden. Actually, I didn't. For a couple of pay-per-views, he was really good, but most of the time he was bad. Ironically, when Vinnie Rue was in charge. But he would support the heels in such an unreasonable fashion. And I think the job of a colour commentator is to find stuff that's actually reasonable, that the play-by-play guy would find it hard to argue with, because it's annoying, you know. It's and you find those little excuses for the heels, which Jerry Lawler was a master at that. He really, really was. Jerry Lawler, maybe the best in colour, you know, of all time at finding. You know, he was never at full odds with JR. They were presented as friends, and they were friends. You know, Jerry Lawler had a storyline where he defended JR against Taz, so they were always friends. But Lawler found a way to still be the colour, and I like that when you can tell that commentators are friends, but one's colour and one's play-by-play. Jericho, brilliant. Triple H made the whole match about the ribs, basically. This event is phenomenal, you know, it's an unbelievable event. Such an electricity, such an energy in the air. And obviously you have this wonderful main event, The Rock and Chris Benoit. One of the greatest matches, you know, that complete and utter wally, Dave Meltzer, complete and utter shambles, fucking Wizardora character, the Scarecrow from Wizardora. If you don't know it, look it up. That's Dave Meltzer, absolute crony. Didn't give this 5 stars, didn't give The Rock and Benoit 5 stars, and I will say it every video. Every time I'm commentating on a 5-star WWE match, I'm going to say this, guys. I don't have any shame of saying it, because I should say it. Dave Meltzer has only given 5 matches in WWE history 5 stars. You complete and utter... Just it drives me insane, man. Absolute... I can't even... Clown. And he didn't give this 5 stars. He didn't give The Rock and Benoit. This event has 2 5-star matches. This and The Rock and Benoit. How can anyone say The Rock and Benoit is not a 5-star match? I genuinely can't fathom that. I genuinely think that Dave Meltzer doesn't care about electricity, feeling, you know, what went into a match, what went into a lead-up, the whole package. Doesn't seem to care about that. Oh, brilliant by Jericho. Brilliant fire, brilliant spinning heel kick. But he carries on selling. I was watching a Raven Shoot interview the other day, and he's talking about selling so much. He's talking about how much it annoys him when these wrestlers come back. They sell, then they come back and they're fine. Jericho, perfect example of selling in this. He hits those moves, he gets those hope spots, but Triple H cuts him off, and Jericho carries on selling. I thought Jericho was in the ultimate weakened state in this match. It's wonderful selling, wonderful babyface. Wonderful babyface heel match. Brilliant. You know, and I wish more wrestlers would pick up on that. You know, there's loads of stuff that Raven said in that. Raven's a genius. I kept talking about Raven in this match, but yeah, it's to do with babyface and babyface fire and selling. Secrets of the Ring it is, if you want to look that up. Oh yeah, Stephanie's women's champion. Disgrace. Why was Steph women's champion? It was only a year before WWE had a respectable women's division. You know, everyone who says that it's only been good today. You know, you had Trish Stratus coming into her own. You had Lita. You had Molly Holly. You had Ivory. You had Jackie. This is like a year later. They had a pretty respectable women's division. Victoria came in. I do like the women's division today. That's one of the parts of the WWE I do genuinely respect. I think a lot of the women are better than the guys. I generally do. Stephanie looks so evil She must have spent time in front of the mirror mastering her evil witch faces, because she really has mastered them over the years, and no face is the same, and just constant like expressions changing. And I think Triple H has wrestled this match, well, like, it's not been hardcore yet. It's such a well crafted match. Triple H starts things off, spends the majority of the match trying to wrestle it how you would. You'd focus on the ribs. You'd just keep doing moves on the ribs. You'd put him in submissions. You'd beat him down, and you'd try and win the match that way. And I think in a minute and the storyline is that Jericho. I was talking about baby faces, and he calls him on. That's the storyline of the match. Jericho's heart, brilliant, fabulous. I remember, I vividly remember getting so much excitement from Jericho's heart in this match. This is the ultimate example, Raven says in that video. He kept himself alive for the match, and now he's starting to call on Triple H. And you've built up that investment, and Jericho's, he's really nailing it. They're nailing it so well, and I think when it gets brutal is Triple H getting frustrated with Jericho still getting up, so he gets a chair. That's when they turned it brutal. It just wasn't always brutal like the first one. Oh, that was an excellent pedigree. Head first. Head first and face first. Yeah, it's weird though, they had this feud and then the feud was over in a month. Triple H went into that love triangle with Kurt Angle and Steph, which I don't hate. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Again, the company was so good, just because the storyline didn't fully resonate, it didn't bring everything down. A wonderful, and JR keeps saying fight another day, Chris. It's a wonderful storyline. I think this gets Jericho over. I think one of the problems with, there you go, look, frustrated with Jericho still getting up, gets a steel chair, and that's when things get extreme. I remember this chair to the back being really, really loud. Oh, I think that people seem to have it in their heads these days that you get over by winning. And you don't get over by winning, you get over by what happens in the match. Completely. Wrestlers lose. Tommy Dreamer lost every match, but he was one of the most over wrestlers in the business. At the time, he was. Tommy Dreamer was extraordinarily over. And all these wrestlers who, because Jericho in this match, very over, and everyone would be rooting for him to win, but he gets more over by being that plucky. I mean, they presented him as a youngster, even though he was the same age as Triple H. But this is way better than just having Jericho win. I really think that. This chair shot, I can't remember if I think Triple H is just a similar blade job to the one against Cactus. The worst blade job I think I've seen with Triple H here is Cactus. You got about 9,000 to choose from. Brilliant. Dropped the chair, then fell straight down. It was everything he could muster to do that chair shot. And then, as soon as Triple H's face starts bleeding, you're in, shit gets real. Every match, every month that this happened, it happened every month. Well, it didn't happen next month, I don't think the month after. He was back doing it the month after that. Seemed like he spent like 5 years, Triple H, bleeding every month for these epic blade jobs. One of the best Crimson Mask wrestlers. I think you can put him up there with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair as the most, I don't know what the best term is, the most wrestler I enjoy to see bleeding their heart out. Well, no, they just look like battle worn. It's just an incredibly memorable image to see Triple H bleeding like that. And he really would as well. He wouldn't sugarcoat it. Lots of wrestlers bleed and they just have a little cut. Like The Rock's guilty of that. He only ever had a little cut. Triple H's Crimson Mask. Ooh. Brilliant comeback. This is how you wrestle a match. This is literally how you wrestle a babyface and heel match. I always used to think that Triple H had a blood capsule, like I never believed that he would bleed, but he bloody well did. I bet every move Jericho hits is a kind of a babyface, like an exciting move. Oh yeah, and Bulldog onto the chair, brilliant. Brilliant. And you don't need 100 weapons for a match to be extreme. This is already extreme. And all you've had is the chair shot and a Bulldog on the chair. But it's extreme. It's, it feels extreme. It feels epic. It feels violent. It feels like an absolute bloodbath. It feels like way more than it is, and I think that's good wrestling when, and this match is one of the sole examples of it, when you can have not loads happen, but it feels incredible, it feels like loads has happened. And then, the image of Triple H staggering whilst he's bloody is another reason why he's a great bleeder. He's a great little bleeder. Oh, ribs first. I've always wondered if wrestlers, because the steel steps are clearly steel, this is just some big scam and they're actually plastic, or I don't know. But wrestlers, they must just take the steel steps. I don't know if they're just hollow and they just don't hurt. I don't know. Nah, they definitely do. No way they don't. I think that Jericho, the image of... I was wondering whether he should have bled as well in this match, but the image of him with Triple H's blood on him, he kind of doesn't have to bleed. He's already covered in Triple H's blood, and I like that because it just makes Triple H's cut seem more. Oh yeah, double monitor shot. Yeah, every move in this, every spot, is ingrained in your mind, and that's what I always go back to it. But I just have to do it. We need that in wrestling, and that's what wrestlers are missing. They're not thinking of doing that. They're thinking of, I don't know what they're thinking of. A lot of wrestlers, they don't seem to think we need to have this spot, this spot, this spot. They are doing it in the likes of the fucking tag team match which Dave Meltzer loved, full of 9 million spots. But that's what I don't get. It seems like wrestlers either hit 9 million spots or nothing. They're not interested in having a measured, compact match. It always has to be everything or nothing. And pro wrestling is a real kind of balancing act. Oh, look at that brilliant image. Triple H tapping out in a last man standing match. Jericho holding on because he doesn't have to let go. Brilliant stuff. And you understand why Jericho's holding on. You feel the hatred between these two men. Walls of Jericho, it always looked agonising. I think as a youngster I was put in it by friends, as you do as a kid, and it is fucking agony, as is the figure 4 leg lock. The weird thing is, surely the referee would have had to put him off eventually, just to say, well, let me count then, mate. All Jericho and Steph. Oh my god. It's weird how they chose. I think it's because Jericho had done so much to her, but obviously Stephanie didn't stay at ringside for Cactus and Triple H, but she stayed at ringside for this. But she added some heel heat to the match, so she wasn't really needed in the Cactus match. Sledgehammer. Oh. Always discuss the sledgehammer with my friend James. Think of what it actually is. It's a sledgehammer used to knock down walls, right? And we always remember the image of Triple H in the Hell in a Cell, DX versus Big Show and Shane and Vince McMahon, where Triple H lays the sledgehammer on the back of a 60-year-old man's head. He touches him with it to measure his shot, then raises it and bang, breaks it over Vince McMahon's head. Fucking disgusting, ridiculous sham. Shouldn't have done it, because it's ludicrous. There's no survival happening there. 60, and also used to knock down buildings. Mental. Here we go. Excellent move. Unbelievable. And JR's line, they just suplex each other to hell. Unbelievably fabulous. People need to, the commentators today, right, they need to get a pad out and just listen to JR and just write JR and just make notes on JR, because he's an absolute legend. But what I love about that suplex was that Triple H essentially put himself through the table and Jericho onto the concrete, so it was the double impact. It's a great way for Triple H to get the win, because he didn't bury Jericho in any way. He just, he done the move, both of them got hurt, and he got up first. But Jericho was over. You believed in Jericho more after this match, 100%. And you believed in Triple H as a warrior more after this match. This is how you get people over. Love that image. Getting up and then falling face first and then lying like that. Triple H was the king of showing showing what he was going through. Showing, not even necessarily selling, but just showing the impact of the battle. He was a genius at that. Love Jim Ross. Jericho's yet to move. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like what I just witnessed. Wonderful. Sometimes there's not much I can say about these matches because they're just so good. And look at that. Jericho's head actually bounced off the concrete. Fucking concussed, mate. Surely, Jesus Christ. He literally did it. He literally suplexed him on the concrete. I think that they were supposed to both land on the table and Triple H accidentally went too far on one side. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, mate. Just, I know you're in the hospital now with fucking Tom and Jerry bump on the back of your head. Unbelievable match. 5 stars. It was built slowly. It had a story running throughout. It was brutal, but not too brutal. It was meaningful. It was memorable. And it didn't really matter who won. And that's the best kind of match. Brilliant. And I think we'll end it there, guys. But what do you think of Jericho and Triple H? And is it your favourite match of the year 2000? I know it is for two of my subscribers, and I can see why. But if anyone else out there, or if those guys again want to request another match, I am going to be doing Hogan vs Andre. I want to commentate on that match, so that's going to be next anyway. But if you want to request one anyway, then do it. Look at that, being carried out like a champion, and it wasn't even a championship match. Just brilliant stuff. My mind is blown by how good WWE was in the year 2000. But yeah, we're signing out there, guys. Please subscribe if you enjoyed and join the Last Fan Standing, and I will see you guys next time.